We got to start with the afternoon game yesterday, what I thought to me was the most interesting game of the weekend. And that was the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in a rematch of last year's AFC title game. Cincinnati won the game 27-24. And did we ever think we'd be saying this? Bengals beat Chiefs 3 times in a calendar year, because they beat them January 2nd in Cincinnati. They beat them, was it 4 weeks later? Yeah, 4 weeks later on January 30th at Arrowhead, down 18, came back to win it, advanced to the Super Bowl. And then yesterday, December 4th. So there you go, 11-month span. The Bengals beat the Chiefs 3 times. Here's what I will tell you this. First of all, to those that are bashing Patrick Mahomes today and saying that he's like somehow out of the MVP race or that Jalen Hurts has supplanted him, and I'm going to talk about Jalen Hurts later because he was obviously amazing yesterday against the Tennessee Titans. I think I think we're going a little too far. We're overreacting. First of all, Mahomes did not play bad. He was on a gimpy leg. Offensive line didn't protect terribly well. But he threw for 223, a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, by the way, on like a Michael Jordan Space Jam type play where he's reaching the ball over the goal line. He had a QBR 0 to 100 of 90 and a pass rating of 98. Like, people like Mahomes didn't play well. I don't know what you're talking about. He was, they got a good support by their running game. Averaged 5 yards a carry. Pacheco was good. McKinnon was good. O-line did a good job, giving, running backs holes up the middle. This was more about what Cincinnati did, and in particular what Joe Burrow did. Joe Burrow was spectacular yesterday. Every big throw that the Bengals needed that man to make, he made it. Think Jamar Chase matters? Him being back in the starting lineup. Listen, Cincinnati was putting up a lot of points. They were moving down the field with the other guys, with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Hayden Hurst. But when you get a top 5 receiver back in the lineup, it makes a little bit of a difference. And you could see it yesterday. How Kansas City had to respect Jamar Chase, bring attention to his side of the field. And Joe Burrow was just spraying the ball all over the place. Had a great completion percentage. Again, how many Bengals caught? 8 Bengals caught a pass in the game. Joe Burrow, 25 for 31, 286, 2 touchdowns, QBR 71, and a pass rating of 126. He was dealing. And, when you have a great quarterback, I'm talking about like a great quarterback, like top 3 or 4, which I think Burrow's in that category. Like, I think he's 3. You could convince me into 2. I still think Mahomes is the best. I think it's his league and we're all just living in it. But when you have a truly great quarterback, the coach, limited or not, and I think Zach Taylor is a very limited head coach. What is he without Joe Burrow? You see how much trust that they have in these guys. Okay, Joe Burrow, last play before the 2-minute warning, on a 2nd and 4, makes a what are you doing mental error. They decide to pass on 2nd and 4. Totally agree with the call because the clock's going to stop anyway. Might as well see if you can get a completion. Your quarterback is not turnover prone. If it's not there, it's not there. But Joe Burrow's rolling out to his left and takes the sack. It's like, dude, the clock is going to stop. If it's under 2 minutes, smart play. Force him to use a timeout or let the clock run. No, throw the ball out of bounds. The clock is going to stop. Don't lose 7 yards. But again, it comes back. The next play after the 2-minute warning, minute 59 left. You see how much you see how great a quarterback is by how his coach believes in him. 3rd and 11, and they try a shot over the middle to T. Higgins. Now, they had the 1-on-1 man-to-man coverage. T. Higgins is a big 6'5 receiver. That's matchup nightmare. You saw he caught that touchdown, which was rolled incomplete, but it was a great effort in the back left corner of the end zone early in the game. But that's a tight window throw. And if that thing falls incomplete, how long of a field goal would that have been for Evan McPherson? Evan McPherson's a great kicker. Let's not get that twisted. But that would have been a 45-yard field goal. Now, even if he makes it, Kansas City's got a minute 50 to go 75 yards. We've seen that before, have we not? As bad as Travis Kelce struggled yesterday, and it's safe to say that was probably his worst game of the season. Obviously, he had the big fumble early in the 4th quarter. Okay, guys like Hardman. Juju played okay. What's his name? Valdez-Scantling former Packer, dropped a touchdown in the end zone. Like, there were certain things, correctable mistakes, that the Kansas City Chiefs committed. But that game to me was more about what the Bengals did than what the Chiefs did not. It was about what Joe Burrow, the plays he was able to make, as opposed to the plays that Mahomes at the very end was not able to make. When you're playing Kansas City, Harrison Butker misses that kick that would have tied the game. You've got 3 minutes and change to go. Kansas City's got all their timeouts. And your goal, if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, is Mahomes, 15 on the other side is not touching the football. That's all that matters. 15 on the other side in red is not touching the ball. That's what the Bengals did. 10-play drive, milked all the clock off, forced Kansas City to use all their timeouts. Big third down conversions. Props to the Cincinnati Bengals. Big, big win. Now, in terms of the landscape of the AFC, because in this, listen, we knew this going into the season, right? I talked about it in the show. I think it was a fair assumption to say the AFC had way more contenders than the NFC. Now it looks even more lopsided because I thought the Rams were going to be a contender. They're 3-9 on their backup quarterback. Okay, we thought teams like, say, the Saints would at least be respectable. No, the MVP Aaron Rodgers of the Packers. No, they're 5-8. Out in the AFC, you got the Chiefs and the Bills and the Bengals and the Ravens and the Dolphins are interesting. You got a lot of teams in here that are more than capable of making a run. Kansas City, to me, is still the favorite to come out of the AFC because better chance than not, when you look at their schedule, okay, Kansas City's got the Let's Ride Broncos, and they're 9-point road favorites, by the way, at the worst team in football, the Houston Texans. Home against Seattle, that's a tough matchup. Home against the Let's Ride Broncos, and then at the Vegas Raiders, who they've historically owned in the Mahomes-Reed era. By the way, Mahomes has never lost a divisional game on the road. So I have a hard time believing history's going to not repeat itself on January 8th. So I know, listen, Buffalo's got the number 1 seed, but Kansas City, I just gave you their schedule. Here's the Buffalo Bills schedule moving forward. Jets, that is no gimme. Dolphins, that's no gimme. Chicago, they'll win that one. At the Cincinnati Bengals in the last Monday night game of the year, and then the Patriots at home. Like, there's 2 games in there. To me, the Jets and the Bengals pose the biggest threat to beat the Bills. So Kansas City, I'm here to tell you right now, folks, they're going to be the 1 seed. Matter of fact, they very well may win out. Worst case, lose 1 game. We know the Bills had the tiebreaker because they beat Kansas City back in week 6. But very good chance for the 5th consecutive year, the AFC is going to run through Arrowhead, as it has for every single year in the Mahomes-Reed era. But when we talk about the playoffs, what's the playoffs about? It's not necessarily the best teams. In a lot of cases it is, but not always. It's about matchups. It's about, obviously, health comes into play. Everybody's beat up by this point. Everybody's beat up by now, and we still got a month left in the regular season. We still got 5 games left for everybody in the league. It's about matchups. Styles make fights, as they say. Another quote, Mike Tyson, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And when you talk about who matches up in the AFC, who matches up the best, not necessarily in total, but who matches up better with Kansas City than any team in the league, it is the Cincinnati Bengals. First of all, they've shown you that 3 times. Week 17 last year, AFC title game last year, and then yesterday. Because is Josh Allen a better quarterback than Joe Burrow? I would say probably, but you could convince me that Burrow's better than Allen, honestly. He's won more. He's done more with less. His coach isn't as good. He's beaten Mahomes at Mahomes. Allen hasn't done that in the playoffs. You could make an argument. But let's just say quarterback, that's a wash. Weapons probably favors Buffalo, but you want to cover Jamar Chase? T. Higgins is a matchup nightmare. He is unguardable in the red zone because of his size and strength. Hayden Hurst is a better tight end than Dawson Knox. I like Dawson Knox. He's not as good as Hayden Hurst as a pass catcher. Running game, not close. Bengals. Defense, who's more consistent? Bengals. This has been kind of an underreported thing. Cincinnati's played very good defense this year after the first 2 games of the year, the first 2 losses against Pittsburgh and Dallas. That is a Bengals defense that's playing confident. They're getting turnovers. They're getting to the quarterback. I mean, really one of the biggest plays of the game yesterday was that last 3rd and 3 that the Chiefs had, last play of Mahomes this afternoon, when they got a little shoelace tackle from behind and it sacked it for a couple-yard loss. which made the field goal tougher, which meant Kansas City couldn't continue to move the ball down the field. They get to your quarterback. They make you turn the ball over. That's what you got to do to beat Kansas City. Whereas Buffalo, they're great. They can beat Kansas City, but it probably has to be a shootout. Bengals don't necessarily have to win by a shootout. They can stop Kansas City. And obviously, they can score on Kansas City. They got a loaded offense, and Kansas City's defense, it's fine. It's better than years past, but it's still not elite. Baltimore, I don't know if Lamar's going to be healthy. And even if he is, who's got the better weapons? Cincinnati or Baltimore? You tell me. Right? Mark Andrews is great. That's all they got. You like Devin Duvernay more than Jamar Chase? Call me crazy, but I don't. Okay? Miami, stop. Tua can't go toe-to-toe with Mahomes in the playoffs. Okay? Who am I missing? The Titans. No. Listen, they can run it down your throat, but Tannehill can't match Mahomes throw for throw. We saw that in the playoffs a few years ago. Styles make fights. Cincinnati can not only fight Kansas City, heck, they've beaten them the last 3 times. Expect this to be a playoff matchup, whether it be in the divisional round or in the AFC title game. It'll, in all likelihood, be an Arrowhead, but that, to me, if I'm a Kansas City Chief, Bengals scare me a heck of a lot more than Buffalo does. I'll tell you that much. Styles make fights. I'm just here to tell you, Bengals are the biggest threat matchup-wise to the Chiefs. Not saying other teams like Baltimore, Buffalo can't beat them, but the Bengals match up better than the Ravens or the even the Titans or the Bills do. But a heck of a performance by Joe Burrow and that Bengals offense. Again, I love watching Joe Burrow because he's almost got like a Kawhi Leonard factor to him in that whether the game is going great or whether the game is just a disaster, same look on his face. It's not Russell Wilson-esque where it's fake. Like it's fake optimism, fake, hey, we got this, no. They don't buy into that. Teams can see through your quarterback if he's fake. Ask the 3-9 Denver Broncos. Okay, they lost again yesterday. Man, they call him Joe Cool, which is what they called Joe Montana back in the day. And I laughed. Check the tape if you want to suffer through it. But I laughed at comparisons out of the draft between Montana and Burrow. I said, okay, this is getting a little ridiculous. No, I was the one being ridiculous. This guy's legit. Love watching him play. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube. Be sure to click that big red subscribe button and go check out the other clips and full shows of Carving It Up Live. Have a blessed day.